Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Absolutely. All right, I'm here. You're here.
Am I here?
We're here.
I am here. What do I do with my hands?
You do everything with
This
your
is
hands.
so not going to be like a smart philosophical podcast.
It is going to be
all.
a little bit different than the
I'm still
Julian
sad
on
we
the
don't have
couch.
like a whiskey or a beer.
I actually have all
But
of the beer that I
warm.
went to Wisconsin to buy in my pickup right now.
Right.
I have like 3 cases, but it's warm, and I don't think we can power through that.
I don't think so. I think
So-
we're good. Is this just recording the?
It's a super wide angle, so we'll move that
Hey
around.
ladies, how you doing?
So hey ladies, welcome to the
Do you have
Massenomics
ladies
podcast.
listening?
Actually, believe it or not, we have probably, I don't know how many, more than just our moms though.
Nice.
So we've
That's
got
good. It's growing.
yeah. Actually, I think of our iTunes reviews, like 80% of them are women.
Are they nice?
I think it's the power of the pecs.
We got to get that on Strongfit, dude. Strongfit, we're like at 95% male.
Really?
Like this is the most women we've had at a coaches week.
I think that's unusual.
Yeah, like we get. I mean, coach says you're not really famous until you have women followers and groupies. He's not there yet. It all just seems to be sweaty men.
I think we've got, like at my CrossFit gym, what's our ratio? I think we're like almost dead on 50-50
50-50.
with
That's not
members,
bad.
which is probably pretty close to what CrossFit has.
Yeah.
Generally,
I
don't you
had
think?
about 80-20 at my
Women to
gym.
men?
Women. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a bunch more women than men.
And that is
I think the
because-
guys just get their ego
and
bruised
that's
too
because
easily.
of Richard's hair. So we are.
I was told by one of my favorite clients. She always said that I was intimidating. That she didn't understand why women would come and sign up because I intimidate women.
Really?
I don't know why. I'm like, okay.
Well, we are at this point in the midst of the Massenomics podcast here.
Oh, we are.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we're totally in it.
Awesome.
I am joined by Richard Aceves. Is that pronounced right?
You did it.
So when I
Nice.
when I preloaded this trip, when I hyped it before I left, I was like, we're gonna go visit Julian, and then I was like, and Richard.
Something.
I'll figure out the last name
Yeah.
when we get there.
I'll practice it. Aceves. That's
That's
correct.
good. I didn't know if it was a hard ch. or
No,
if it's
that's
just
that's
the C.
Argentinian.
What?
A Chevis. I
Chevis.
don't even.
A soft sh.
A soft I've gotten Aceves. When I won the California Gold, they were like, and Richard Aceves. I was like, close enough.
So Richard, what is your tell the people what your role is with Strongfit per se? At the moment?
My goal is just kind of the how-to for Julian. So basically, anything he wants to try and accomplish, I try and figure out how to make it happen.
So you're the it guy.
I'm the
You're
it
the one
guy.
doing
When he
the-
wants
doing a lot of
coffee,
the
I go get
doing.
him coffee.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I think I'm the it guy. He has a lot of different visions, as you've noticed this past week. During the coaches week. So I'm really just the guy that I see his vision and I multiply it by 10.
Yeah.
And I always like to shoot up high, so we try and take over the fitness world.
Yeah. Well, plus things actually have to happen.
Yes.
You know.
He's very, as you can tell this week, he's very in his head, and he loves
Yeah.
to say a lot of things, but sometimes it's a lot more work trying to implement them. So he's always like, oh, let's go train. I'm like, dude, like someone has to actually do the computer work.
Yeah.
So let's focus on that.
Like emails probably aren't his thing.
Emails are definitely not his thing.
Like large scale marketing probably not his thing.
Marketing is not his thing at all. He's like, why aren't people here? I was like, Coach, you didn't tell anybody. He's like, no, but I did. I was like, you mentioned it once like 8 months ago.
In a live video.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes in where people like the true diehards are listening.
Yeah.
Everybody else is zoned out after like the first minute and a half.
Yeah.
So he thinks everybody understands him, and I try to make him understand that nobody understands him. And that, when we first started the seminar, I was like, Coach, you need to explain this. Like if someone just walked out of an office and has never lifted a weight, and you need to explain to him how to get in shape and not get hurt. He's like, but I'm teaching coaches. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't understand what level of coaching they're at yet.
Yeah.
So we need to like simplify this as much as possible. And at first he didn't listen, but then it always, with coach, I feel like we go through like a 3-month revolution of I stick something in his ear and I kind of poke at it and poke at it and poke at it. And then he's like, Richard, I have this great idea. So we're going to do this coaches week where we take a week-long workshop. And I'm like, that sounds awesome, coach. Let's do it up. It works really great. Or he'll come in and he'll have like this whole new system. So I've basically, he had his original system like the first 6 months that we did the seminar. And then, he just recently came up with some pretty cool stuff with the torque chains and the sympathetic, parasympathetic system and the nervous system. And so he'll just come in out of nowhere and he just starts writing on the walls. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And we just take that and I try to like funnel into something that's applicable.
We saw that yesterday. We were doing our thing, and all of a sudden, coach was outside training.
Yeah.
And he just comes running in and takes over the whiteboard.
Right. Yeah. He does that a lot. And so I carry around like markers with me and chalk markers with me. And so anywhere we go, we always have like big windows, and we'll just start writing on the windows. And that's really how we do most of our ideas. We just kind of start writing shit down. We just start talking back and forth, and we start to see certain trends that happen here and there in different gyms, different areas. And so that's really where we start to zone in on what we want to try and accomplish.
Yeah. Now I want to backtrack a little bit here, because we went pretty in depth with Coach last week's episode. It was yesterday. But I want to go back to your training history as far as what it was like when you were training on your own, how you kind of came up, what you were doing, and then how you maybe found your way to coach.
Yeah, so I started, with basically I was a power lifter when I was working in the kitchen. I was a chef before I actually got into the fitness world, and then I found CrossFit and rock climbing kind of at the same time. I was a 240-pound big boy that used to work in the kitchen, and I used to go lift, and then I started rock climbing, and I fell in love with rock climbing, so I was like, I need to get smaller because you can't rock climb and be a big boy.
I wouldn't be any good at rock climbing.
It's difficult.
I don't even like climbing stairs at this point.
So I kind of started to shift things, and so my uncle was training for a triathlon at the time, and he turned me on to a Navy SEAL guy that was doing CrossFit, and so I just started following Mainsight, and that's kind of how I fell in love with the CrossFit world. Doing the burpees and the puking and passing out and that whole horribleness.
You were in
that
all
is CrossFit.
that where it was as...
Oh, dude, I got kicked out of
intense as
24-hour
could be.
fitness. Like, they exiled me from 24-hour fitness because that was back then when there weren't that many CrossFit gyms around. This was in 06, 07. And then I had a rock climbing accident. And so once I recovered from my rock climbing accident, it was just like CrossFit full on.
Yeah.
And I feel like CrossFit has its own life cycle. You start seeing it where you start your first CrossFit workout and you hate it and you feel horrible, but you love it at the same time. And then you kind of start going back like maybe 3 times a week, and then all of a sudden 5 times a week, and then 6 times a week. Then you don't need a rest day because it feels so cool to be just kill yourself in the gym.
Yeah.
And then you ask your coach if you can do 2 a week and 2 a days. And, you kind of go through that cycle, and then you find either powerlifting or strongman or weightlifting or gymnastics. You find basically
something else clicks.
your power biased, right? Yeah. Like your endurance bias, your power bias, your bunny bias, depending on what you like to do.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I don't really need to be doing all this cardio stuff if I can just lift heavy.
Yeah. I need to get huge.
Yeah. I just want to be strong, guys. This whole 6-pack thing is highly overrated. And so I started doing more of the powerlifting stuff, but I still wanted to kind of keep on CrossFitting because I owned a CrossFit gym, an affiliate. And so there came a point where I just kept breaking, man. Like my back would go out, my shoulders would go out, something would pop. And it's that return to zero and start from nothing and build back up. It's such a horrible struggle, man.
I think we see it all the time. Now you had a little bit more of a, issues that you were working through structurally with your accident. Do you want to go in a little bit to what your rock climbing accident and what kind of coming back out of that was like?
Yeah, so I was in a rock climbing accident where basically my hip was crushed and broken into around 30 pieces. My pubis was basically uplifted a few inches. I've had a couple ulna transplants, so my forearms are definitely beat up to shit. And I've gone through about 8 surgeries in the last, it's been 9 years now. But the first couple of years were like surgery every year because I never listened to the doctors.
Yeah.
Who does, you know? And so the struggle was always, trying to prove the doctors wrong that, you can exercise and you can be better than you were before. And that was like a huge mental why for me.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter the pain that I was in. Like, I just do stupid shit. Like, as soon as the first time the doctor told me I could walk without crutches,
Yeah.
and it took me like a good 45 minutes to take my first step. It's the weirdest thing when your nerves and your muscles don't want to fire, but your body's trying to tell it to fire. You know, it's such a trippy experience. But I remember the day after that, I went walking for like 10 miles just because, fuck it, I can walk without crutches.
Damn it, I can't do it now.
Yeah, I spent 5 months in bed after my accident, so, you know, close to 5 months, and so it was a big upbringing. I did almost all of my own rehab, and I think that's really where I fell in love with the fitness industry as a whole. There's a lot of dark things that happen in the fitness industry as far as, you know, the quick sale on things.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed being able to inspire people, to tell people my story, and the reason that, you know, if I can do this, then you sure as shit can push that sled and not walk, Tyler. You know,
I didn't walk.
I think we should go after here and do it.
I got to drive 5 hours. I don't think that's a good idea.
You know, but it was really that. Like, for me, like, my biggest why in training was, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
You know, my why was, why can't I? And so I basically proved to everybody that I can and I will. And, you know, this was all before meeting Julian, but there would get to a point where, you know, I'd be pulling 550 pounds off the ground, and I'd go to 560 and I'd break. And I'm like, and then I'd be like on the floor spasming, and, you know, it'd take me like 3 or 4 weeks to recover, and I have to build back up to that strength.
Yeah.
You know, like at the peak of my CrossFit powerlifting experience, I was able to back squat 550 pounds, and I still had a 212, 220, 227 was my time on the Fran.
No shit.
You know, and so I was very well rounded, but I couldn't take it anywhere because I'd break any time, and I would self-sabotage myself in the anxiety of, if I'm going to do a competition, I'm going to try and be PR and before I go into the competition, so I'd always pop every time.
Yeah.
So there came a point where, you know, I needed to become an athlete, and you can't be an athlete and the coach at the same time. I'm sure lots of people have said it before me, but it takes kind of that rock bottom position to where you're like, yeah, I need a coach. And so I looked around at, you know, all the coaches, and I had been talking with Julian back and forth, and something that I enjoyed about him is he didn't care about what he was going to program for me. Yeah. His motto is, you know, if you've ever get to do an assessment with him, he tells you what needs to get better, but he won't tell you what you need to do to get there. He'll tell you how you should try to get there. And it's up to you to be an adult and say, okay, I need to go this route, and this is what I'm going to do. And so that's really what intrigued me about going to train with him. So that's kind of how I ended up with him. I just got tired of breaking.
And you were training with him for a long time. Tell us about how you kind of transitioned from going there and working with him or having him coach you,
right,
to then deciding that you wanted to actually learn more about the system itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the first times that I really got to train with him, it was mainly trying to figure out, why is this guy so fucking crazy? You know, because like the first time I went to go see him, he's like, yeah, go work on your lats, and, you know, go get this to fire, go get that to work. And, you know, I'd be driving home, and I was like, the fucker's just telling me to go to the fucking Globo Gym and go do bodybuilding. It's basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
And, you know, I knew for him, it's always a testing position. So nothing's ever given, even if you pay him, you know, his hourly rate. It was, come train with me, and then I'll decide if I want to take you on as a client. And so right from the beginning, I was like, test me all you want. Like, I'm here to suffer. I will die after you die, because I'm going to make sure that I'm alive to laugh at you before I die, type thing. And we kind of, I mean, I was his client, but I was really like his training partner. Like, I'd show up and we'd train together, and we would both die, and then he'd tell me what I needed to get stronger in order for me to not break. And I was like, deal, I'll go home and go work on that. And after like 4 or 5 months, I started to kind of understand. I think my body started to get a connection as to what he was trying to do and accomplish, and so things started to click a lot better when I go to my gym and go coach classes.
Yeah.
So he helped me advance a lot as a coach, and that's really what kind of helped me move forward. And so I was like, hey, so I mean, I know I'm supposed to only come Tuesdays, but what if I come Tuesdays and Saturdays, and Saturdays, like, I'll just watch you coach.
Yeah.
And I would show up, like, I would go, I teach classes in the morning, and I'd drive up for 2 hours. I'd get there at 9 a.m., and I would just watch him coach a couple classes, and he'd have a couple clients. Then I would train, and then I'd watch him coach a couple more, and then I'd drive back down and go teach. And so I think he just started seeing that I was just hungry always for more, because I was always taking out my phone, slightly putting it there, just record everything he would say, because he didn't have anything written down.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like a year or two into it, he said, hey, so the barbell shrug guys are coming, and do you want to be there? And I was like, yeah, let's go do it. And so I canceled all my classes. I went up to go watch him do the barbell shrug podcast, and then he's like, oh, people are like writing me emails. He's like, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, they should be. Like, the stuff you have is impressive. So that's really where my ideas, like, I was like, this can be big.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of hung out as much as I could with him. Like, anytime he said, I'm doing this, I was like, yeah, I'll show up. Yeah. And nothing would happen. Like, we went to go see, like, a kids competition. And, I mean, I just kind of stood there and hung out with him. But it was me doing my buy-in. Like, even if I have to drive 5 hours to go buy in, you hear that with all the great powerlifters that are, they're like, we used to drive 6 hours so we could all lift together on the weekends. Like, nobody does that anymore. Everybody wants, I pay for it, and I want it here.
Yeah.
Amazon gives me Amazon Prime for 2-day free shipping. Why can't everybody else do that? You're like, God, dude, it's not that easy.
Send me a 6-week program and fix me.
Yeah, that's really what everybody does out there is like, oh, well, if you pay me $200, I'll send you the programming. Mm-hmm. It's not the programming. So you have to understand where that person is mentally, how they're feeling. If they're not feeling good, why should they be doing that type of programming? Like, don't stick to that program. Maybe switch. Don't squat today. Go do bench press. Yeah. Go do some carries. Go do some low West stuff, easy stuff that doesn't require a lot of skill, and you can still move. Yeah. And he's the only one that ever understood that out of me, because I will break if you tell me that I need to break. Mm-hmm. And so he was the one I was trying out for the grid. He's like, yeah, your wrist is popped. Like, just go home. Yeah, in the middle of the competition, I was like, dude, go home. I was like, all right, I'll go home then. Like, he understands that. He wants to keep you healthy. He wants to that's really what drew me to him. And that's really what got my wheels spinning, as this is the change that the fitness world needs. We need to stop focusing on losing the weight, losing the inches, losing the pounds, looking good naked. Like, all that stuff's awesome, but you ask anybody, they all wish they could be healthier when their kids are there, when you need to play with your kids, when you need to go run around, when you need to pick your grandson up. Like, that's the important stuff.
And I think form will follow function anyways,
yes.
Because you can get hella jacked super fast and then fucking break over and over and over again and keep setting yourself back.
Dude, I meet all these dudes that are jacked and they don't deadlift because their back's always hurting and this hurts and that hurts, and you're like, dude, like, isn't that more important? Like, why? What's the necessity? Why do you have to be so masochistic that you always have to be in pain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, like, it's that. I think that part's really interesting. How often we see that, though. People run up against injury and they come back down. Or even in the last week, how many times have we seen somebody who looks fit,
right,
is strong, and then we find out they have pain. Yeah, lots of it all the time.
But they justify it. It's always. It used to take me 45 minutes to get out of bed, man.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but today I'm going to go deadlift 600 pounds, so it's all worth it. And you're like, no, maybe not.
We have to do this always, anyways. Especially with people with powerlifting history, you have to now quantify your iron credentials here. We need some of your top lifts. We got to lay it all out.
Strong, man. For, I think, like, meet PRs, I think my back squat was my meet PR for back squat was 594. My bench was at 400 and something, and my deadlift was at 650. I never know numbers.
Yeah.
I literally just put weight on and lift.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing meets, like, I'll have Julian, I'll have somebody, and they just tell me to go lift, and they do my numbers, because I become a stress case, and I want to try and PR in the warm-up area. So they always do my numbers for me. But yeah, I think strength's always relative. I know you deal with a bunch of people that all they care about are the numbers, but It's all relative, man. I mean, I try to be as strong as I can be. Now my focus is being as strong as I can be and being able to maintain and not break afterwards.
You are, as just, I suppose, it sounds like a little bit of just an experiment with the system here. You are doing a powerlifting meet in Europe?
Yes, at the end of September.
What drew you into deciding to do that? Was it just to have a target?
Yeah, I think it was something to train for. I wanted to have something that I could train for and in a new way. So not the usual Ed Cohen program, not the usual starting strength, or not have any sort of conventional weightlifting, powerlifting program. So I'm not doing everything that I'm training is based upon the principles that Julian has set out. And so I don't do barbell back squats. I haven't done barbell back squats now in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
The deadlift, I do sumos for singles, and then I'll do my conventional is all for reps. My bench press, I'll go heavy every 3 weeks just to see if it's still there. And the last time I went heavy, I hit a 185 for 2 without a problem. But
that's kilos.
Yeah, kilos.
Say weak, dude.
Sorry. Yeah. What's wrong with you? You gotta train more.
Don't even say that shit into the microphone.
So basically, my bench is all volume work. Everything is volume work. Once I get closer, probably like 3 weeks before the meet, I'll start working on the skill of actually executing the standards of the bench press, the deadlift, the squat with the commands.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Like I'm not going in it to get the numbers because I'm going to be in Europe, so I can't qualify for nationals. I can't break records, which sucks.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to go in there to be healthy and being able to the next day not feel beat up like I usually do. Mm-hmm. Like I talk to so many powerlifters and they take like 3 or 4 weeks off after their meet.
Yeah.
You're like, there needs to be something changing there, man.
Yeah. What are some of your target numbers you're thinking for that meet?
I'm really just focusing on the bench press.
Yeah.
The back squat.
As you should.
Duh.
Big
It's all about the pecs, bro. Yeah, always. I'll probably should I say it in pounds or in kilos?
Pounds, because I don't want to do any math.
Okay, no math. So pounds wise, try and hit like a 575 to 600 pound back squat.
Okay.
My deadlift will be, if I can hit a 650 again, I'll be stoked. I'll probably try and go for something higher. But the bench press is the one I'm focusing on. I'd like to go for like a 445, 460.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy. Like for me, I've popped my shoulder a bunch of times, benching incorrectly and having all that shit. And I have structural issues from my accident. So for me, it's now being able to do that, take podium, I'll be happy and go from there.
Righteous.
Yeah, man.
So what about now? So you guys kind of took the show on the road.
Yes.
You were out and about. You're able to, short of this next run, but you've been able to bring your wife along with you. Yeah. Which is good. You probably couldn't imagine the stress that would be.
It would probably be extremely horrible. Yeah, it's been a blast, man. Like we get to go travel everywhere. We do the seminars, the coaches week. It's been awesome getting to network and just meet people all over the world. Like Julie and I get along great. Like it's just a super easy, like work and personal relationship. Like I know when he needs his time. He knows when I need my space. Like we try and do like once a week. Like he'll go do Yaya Day and I'll go do Day a Day.
Yeah.
And then we'll leave them alone and we'll go do our day.
Yeah.
Where we can go talk about the business and talk about where we want to take Strongfit and everything. And so for me, I've really enjoyed seeing how small the world really is.
Yeah.
I get to see passionate coaches and passionate people about fitness all over the world, and they truly care about helping people. It's been an awesome experience.
Yeah. Obviously, because you have a background as a chef.
Yes.
And since you are living just on the road all the time.
Right.
Maybe you don't have the expenses of a crippling mortgage and cars and stuff, so a guy can live with. We talked about your ridiculous shoe collection last week, but
it's a bit much.
I get the sense that you guys also take the food that you guys eat pretty seriously.
I take my food seriously. It's not the quantity, it's the quality. I'm constantly looking up places.
And we're not talking some stuffy grass-fed shit. We're talking quality like it's gotta be fucking delicious.
Dude, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
My standards are high.
If you guys don't follow Richard Rare Barracuda on Instagram, he has some very, very enviable food pictures.
It's either food or some sort of scenery, or me making a stupid face and looking dumb. It's one or the other. I really enjoy food. I think that the experiences and the relationship that we have with food is very important. And I like a good experience. Like if I'm going to go to a restaurant, if I'm going to a hole in the wall, like you said, like we were talking the other day, like if you're going to go, you find a dingy place, it's a hole in the wall, there's no reviews, it has shitty ratings, but the food is amazing, but you know what to expect. You want that experience. So I love that experience of just going to food markets and just chowing down on crickets and anything that they bring my way. And I also love the experience of I'm going to sit here for 4 hours. I'm going to have 20 courses, and they're going to be paired with wine, and we're going to have a good conversation. And the phone is only out to take pictures, because if you don't take a picture of it, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. It never happened.
It's so stupid. My wife laughs at me, but I literally take a picture of the food, and I write down exactly what it is, and I have it all cataloged.
Really?
Of every restaurant, yes. Because I will reminisce of certain things, and I'm like, oh, I have to go back to that experience. And I literally bring it up on my phone. I look at it, and I close my eyes, and I'm like, God, that was so fucking delicious, wasn't it? I need to go back for some more.
So if you had to say, well, here's the other thing. You've had some fucking meals that look like they just are decorations.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even know that I
don't even know how to eat them.
Put a fork into it.
Right.
Or just like, do I just grab that with my hand and eat it?
Like, that's one of the biggest things, right? If you go to a restaurant and they're giving you food that looks like art, if the server does not explain to you how to eat it, it's game over. You lose experience points right there. If I have to guess
I would
how
feel
to
like
attack everything.
Now there's this thing in between me and this food that I got to figure out.
So here's my attack and my approach to dealing with those foods. Whenever you get anything that's kind of fancy and has a lot of different components, you taste all the components differently.
Okay.
And you judge each component by itself, right? Because usually you have like a sweet, a salty, so it's all balanced out. So you taste everything separated, and you have one bite where you mix everything together, and you see if you have a mouth orgasm. You know, the one where you're like,
that's where it is.
That's where it's at.
That sounds a little more sophisticated than my
my
cold 5-day-old meat and rice and vegetables out of a tray 5 times a day.
Yeah, I was hungry at the seminar. Someone was like, just go ask Tyler for food, man. He has steak over there. He has pounds of steak. He just eats with his hand.
It's cold. Who was I talking to the other day? Called him, it was somebody here. They called them, it was like steak cookies.
Steak cookies. We should try to make steak cookies. That actually sounds really good.
But we had, also, so you guys have been traveling, eating, doing the whole deal. You Airbnb it everywhere, obviously. As you probably, if you're going to spend a week and a half, 2 weeks somewhere, a hotel gets to be never home, no matter what. It seems.
Hotels are difficult because you have to get 2 of them, and then it becomes a pain in the ass. So for me, like I get in charge of doing all the logistics for the travel, so it's a lot of fun. So I try and look at where the central happening place is, where the gym is, and then like I try to see where we should be staying, so that we can get to the gym on time and not be stuck. In Europe, usually we don't rent a car. Usually we take like Uber or we walk. So we want something that's kind of central and that we can get to go sightseeing. But there's some cool places you can rent out, man. Like we have a good time.
Give me like the best Airbnb ever you stayed in. The one you still think about when you get to go back there.
My favorite one has been the one in London.
Okay.
We stayed in one in London. This was in our first tour, and it was this like top house, penthouse, one that we got, and it had like 2 rooms, and then it had like an outdoor deck where you could see like the square. But the best part was you went downstairs at night. Like we'd go have dinner, or if we were just lazy, like we'd be upstairs, and you go downstairs at night, and this dude would bring you out this like delicious dessert white wine, this Riesling, with a homemade chocolate mousse.
No shit.
Oh, dude. And this guy was like French, and he just loved us, man. He would just like, he literally just brings out this giant bowl and just like a big old spoonful of chocolate mousse with the sweet wine. Oh, dude.
Damn.
That was heavenly. It was so good. That was probably my favorite Airbnb to date.
Do you ever get into one where you walk into it, and does Julian ever go like, Jesus Christ, Richard, how much did you spend on this fucking thing?
No, I feel bad if I spent too much. Like I always try and like gauge the prices out. Like you know, like you go to Dubai, for example,
Where
and
everything's ridiculous.
well, you could, I mean, you're looking at places and you have the places like $4,000 a month and you have the places like $30,000 a day.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, that looks kind of cool even for one day, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? So I try to like price it out so that it's cheaper than if we were to stay in hotel rooms.
Yep.
But there always needs to be the 3 rules. There needs to be air conditioning.
Yep.
There needs to be air conditioning, good Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi sucks. If the Wi-Fi sucks, nobody's happy in the house ever.
Yeah.
And it needs to be like bright.
Yeah.
And at least 2 bathrooms. 1 bathroom is a no-go.
And ideally,
that's harsh.
laundry.
Yeah, hopefully washer dryer. Europe, it gets kind of hectic with washer dryer. So
Yeah.
if we're staying there for a long time, it's a must-have. At least a washer.
Yeah.
In Europe, usually you don't get washer dryer. And then like you go to London and there's no air conditioning, so you know that.
Yeah.
You're hoping for shit weather at least, so it's like cool. The last time we were there, it was like the hottest weekend ever.
Yeah.
And we went to movie theaters to try and cool down. It was a fucking sauna in the movie theaters. Oh, dude, it's horrible.
When we were in Europe, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was a dishwasher because it was like adjacent to the kitchen.
Yeah,
But it was
a washer.
just a washer though.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you hang your clothes up? What is
Yeah.
this, fucking 1910?
You have to clean your clothes up, dude. Yeah, the washing situation in Europe is trippy because then everything's in a different language and you're like trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And sometimes it just spins and you go and touch it like it's still dry and still smells like fucking sweat. Damn it. And you have to start it all over again. So you have to be careful.
Which is why even the best advice I can give anybody living at home, if you're going to go buy a wash machine, don't spend the money on all the other buttons and stuff because
Just
there's like
a
people use
simple
2
wash.
things.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe 2. I don't even know 2.
Yeah, like the 32 function washer
I
dryer.
use whatever it's on when my wife uses it, and that's only in cases of emergencies when I have to do it. So
Yeah.
you know,
That's always
when we were in Holland, we stayed at this spot and it was the same deal, but it was this wacky thing. You couldn't differentiate the difference between that and a dishwasher
Right.
from looking at it. And then there's all the buttons, and I was like, ah. And no joke, we found out which one worked by the button that had the most wear on it.
right.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
or
the,
you just
that's
like
the,
start spin the dial until
like-
you start hearing the
you're like, oh,
then you're good.
that's the everyday button. That's the no
Yeah.
exceptions button.
If that works, you're good.
Yep. So what about the absolute worst Airbnb?
Oh.
You got to have some bad ones, or where at least you like your expectations were.
The first time we stayed in Sydney, it wasn't bad. Like the place was nice, but fuck me, the bugs, dude, they're scary as shit. And so then you become paranoid at night with the bugs. And we were staying in a nice part of town, and the place looked okay. And I go into my room, and there's a fucking cockroach like that big, and it starts like moving and like crawling all over the wall. And I'm like, I grabbed my shoe and I smacked the shit out of it, and it was like still crawling. So I smacked it till like it was just like done. And I'm like, dude, what if he has like family and there's retaliation tonight?
Yeah.
Like that scares the shit out of me. I don't like bugs. Nobody likes bugs. I don't care who you should not like bugs.
Yeah.
That one was pretty bad. There's been a couple that are, I mean, you can look at the pictures and I go off reviews. So there hasn't been like horrible ones. The bad ones are like the really old ones that are still like set in like 1910. And you have like little tiny hallways and you have a bathroom that's like you can't you can't dry yourself. Like you have to go into your room to dry yourself. But I've enjoyed everywhere we stayed for the most part. As long as there's like a comfortable bed with a few pillows, I'm happy.
Yeah, righteous. What about adjusting to the living out of the suitcases thing? Were you fairly prepared for that when you got into it? Or once you start rolling on the road nonstop, traveling airports, did you have to change the way you packed, the way you lived, the way you...
Yeah, I mean, like we started this thing in August of last year, right? End of July. And I literally started with like, we had nothing. So I was like, well, I'll just take workout clothes for the next 5 months. I don't expect anything else.
Yeah.
And then we slowly started buying shit, shoes, and shirts and, you know, all the cool stuff. So we tried to like prioritize what you need and then what you want. But the packing stuff, like it sucks at the end of the week when you like finally made the room that you've moved into kind of homey.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, time to pack everything back up. So luckily we went back to California and I dropped off like an entire suitcase of things. So now my suitcase doesn't have half a suitcase of just shoes. I love shoes, man.
Just a third of a suitcase
the good leather
of shoes.
Oh, they're the best. So now I'm back down to one suitcase until the end of summer, and then I'll go grab my winter stuff again from Dubai, and then we'll start back up on the road. Like the packing, unpacking sucks. The worst is like airports, because like I don't mind packing, unpacking if we're gonna go on a train, because you can just put everything in a suitcase and go. But when you're in the airport and you're like sweating it if you're going to make weight or not, oh, dude, it's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, okay, you can't have that much weight on your suitcase. You're like, okay, so you put on your carry-on. They're like, we need to weigh the carry-on. You can't have that much stuff on your carry-on. You're like, so then why don't you just say that from the beginning and I'll pay the overweight fees or whatever I need to do.
But now your fucking check bag is gone.
It's gone. Yeah. And so they start yelling at you and you're like.
Yelling at you in fucking some language.
Yeah, like they start getting mad at you and you're like, I'll buy another suitcase, but like you told me to take weight out of my suitcase, which I did. And then after I did that, and you checked my suitcase, you say that my carry-on's too heavy. So I don't understand what you want me to do. Like I need to take this stuff with me to my next country. Julian gets pissed off. So I'm always like, we've been traveling for a year. It's been so hard. And like usually I can charm people down. Julian's like, what do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? What? I'm like, so I try to get him to like check his stuff in first, and like I get him to move. Yeah, like I can charm my way through a lot of stuff. He just gets angry and frustrated. And I'm like, let's just move forward, right? So I'm like, well, I have my laptop and my iPad. Those weigh like 5 pounds. So if I take those out and carry them, they're like, oh, all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
If you smile enough, I always approach security and the lady checking the bags in as in, can you please help me get through this in the least stressful?
I really need you on this one.
Oh, dude. Here's the way I approach it. There's a lot of assholes out there.
Yep.
And so they always think that they're going to be dealing with an asshole. So that they already put up the wall.
Yep.
So if you go there and you actually connect with them,
yeah.
Just like you should connect with anybody. You're like, hey, how's it going? Hope your day hasn't been too stressful. You actually start having a conversation. Then they're usually really nice. Like even if you're slightly overweight, you're like, oh, is it going to make it? Do I need to take stuff off? And they're like, no, all right, we'll take it through.
Yeah.
And then it's good. But as soon as you're like, I need to get to my flight like right now, then it's game over, dude. They'll put up their wall super fast.
You guys had like travel hang-ups, jam up any of the seminars at all?
No. When we were flying from the Gold Coast to Sydney, there was a huge storm, and they're thinking of canceling the flight. And I'm stressing out. Julian's playing chess, not even noticing world around him. And I'm like, dude, they may seriously cancel our flight. Like, we have a seminar tomorrow.
30 coaches there.
Yeah, no, it was a sold-out one, dude. It was like 57 coaches.
Shit.
And I'm like, it's sold out. I'm like, dude, they're saying they're going to cancel. Like, we're delayed for 3 hours right now. I'm like, I literally went to the host. I was like, listen, I understand that you can't give us too much information, but I was like, I cannot miss not being in Sydney in 12 hours. So do I need to rent a car and just cancel my flight here and just start driving to Sydney? Because if I do, that's what I'll need to do.
Oh, you were in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say,
so it wasn't too bad.
Like, I don't know that you're going to make that, Rich.
Yeah, you can't quite drive. Yeah. No, we're already in Australia. We were in Brisbane.
Gotcha.
And so there was a point of stress there, but for the most part, we've been good.
Yeah.
It hasn't been too bad.
Yeah. I noticed it when I saw you guys were flying here. Was it Friday? Was it Friday you guys flew here?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. There's been some days I haven't even made it this far with no weather.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we got really lucky. It was actually a really smooth flight that we got from LA here. And we were, I think, a little late in LA, but you're always late out of LA anyways.
Yeah. Let's see. We've covered your crazy Airbnbs. What about give me like your single most rewarding, memorable experience in another country? Like, had you, when you were looking at it now, you're like, I can't believe we got to do that. Or if yourself 5 years ago saw you in that situation, you'd be like, damn, what a lucky dude.
Oh, dude, every single one has been like that, man. I really days like, why are you so fucking excited to be walking cobblestone streets? I get super excited about stupid shit, and she always just laughs at me. I think a super memorable moment was in Thailand. We got to go play with the elephants.
Yeah.
Which we did the whole refugee thing, so you shouldn't be riding on the elephants because that's the way they torture the elephants are super rude. So this one like it's fucked up what they do to the animals
Yeah.
to break them in. So they're like they call them refugees, and it's a foundation that basically take all these elephants that have been poached and taken away from their families, and you walk along with them, and you get to bathe them and feed them and stuff. And that was a really cool
they're
experience.
Like rescue elephants.
They're rescued elephants, yeah. So they take families that used to make money out of getting tourists to come and ride the elephants, and they're like, this isn't the way that the elephants are happy, and why don't we change the way that we do things? People pay more money just to walk alongside with the elephants and feed them, and so it's kind of that aspect that was really cool. I think still my most badass moment was getting to spend the week in the Maldives.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble with that one from my wife too. Yeah, she wasn't too happy.
That was the honeymoon, though, wasn't it?
It was a honeymoon. She was like, "Why don't you plan a trip for our honeymoon?"
Yeah.
Because she didn't get to go to Australia with us. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And so I got obsessive about it,
Yeah.
and it became let's just go to the Maldives. Like global warming is happening, and why don't we just go to the Maldives for a week?
Good, Tyler. That's good. It's okay. You're good. No, you're good. You can never hear it. I promise.
That's what they always say. We had lawnmowers.
We had weed whackers outside yesterday. Nothing comes through in the mix, man. You're totally good.
But yeah, definitely Maldives is. If you ever get the experience to go there, dude,
Yeah.
oh man, it was just one of a kind.
I know, having seen pictures of the place, like my wife, that's one of her like bucket list
Right.
places. I get on a place like that where it looks so cool, but anytime I travel, I get in a place like that and I go, wow, this looks neat, and then here I am. I get like
What do you do?
anxiety
Yeah.
about just being in the place. And
Right.
I'm like, well, now I'm looking at it all. Okay, so this is the small town, like the South Dakota version of this, Mount Rushmore, right?
Right.
Super wonderful marvel of whatever engineering. Put faces in a mountain for no fucking reason at all. Perfectly good mountain.
Right.
And but people see it. People travel from all over the place to go look at it.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I grew up in South Dakota. I've been to Mount Rushmore like 4 times.
Yeah.
And every time you go there, it takes about 20 seconds to see all of the
faces.
seeing that
Right.
there is to see, and then you're like, oh shit.
That's it.
Like you literally could leave.
Right.
There's not, and granted, that's a situation where maybe there's not much more to absorb. But
Yeah, it's the experience. We went to Niagara Falls, and it is breathtaking. You're like, fuck, that's a ton of water. But like I saw it and I was like, super cool. Can I jump off of it?
Yeah,
no. Oh, can I skydive? Can I do something extreme?
Yeah.
Nope. All right.
Which
We
is
saw
why,
it. Let's
we'll
move on.
go to like a vacation place with a beach or something. You get there and you're hanging out, and then I'm like, okay, well, do we party on this beach?
Right. What do we do?
How do we ramp this thing up?
Yeah. Like, how do you make your experience, right? How do you make
Exactly.
your memory last? Yeah.
'Cause
Like the cool thing
I
about the
can't
Maldives, dude.
in
Let me
the
tell you
Maldives
this.
sit on a fucking super sweet bench and look out into no matter
The
how
ocean.
pretty it
I'm
is
the same
for
way.
very long. I'd be like, this is cool.
Day is like, oh, let's just go sunbathe. So here's like the cool thing about the Maldives, right? It depends on which island. Each island is like privately owned. The one that we went to, it was basically like a private island with people just catering to you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted, like I told you, I was like, I'm going to have half an hour on my phone every morning to answer emails, whatever I need to do for work. But after that, like everything, all technology is off.
Yeah.
And so what I loved about it was once we left the room, you're fully disconnected from everything. So time doesn't matter. You're not worried about activities, about making, going to go see a show, going to do this, going to do that. You just live. And so like we would just go hang out, and we're laying there, and I'm just like, okay, so should we go jump around? Should we go jump in? Should we do this? Should we do that? And she's like, I just want to sit here and relax. And I was like, okay. And you hit a button, and a dude comes running over. He's like, hello, Mr. Aceves, what can I get you? And you're like, I'll have a beer
And a back
and
rub?
maybe like a margarita. And they're like, yes, Mr. Aceves. And they come back, and they give you the best margarita and the coldest beer you've ever had. And you're like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I want to go try and swim with sharks. So you just jump in the water. You go try to swim with sharks.
Whoa. They're just our sharks, and you get in the
Well,
water
they're like
with
little
them?
baby, like tip.
Okay. I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
don't bite. They're like
It's not
little puppies, dude.
This isn't like a tour.
No, I'll show you pictures.
You're
Like,
just like-
there were bigger ones that I tried to so off of my villa, there was I knew the timing, so I would get up early just to go try and jump on the shark's back.
Yeah.
Because I hear they don't bite. Probably if you jump on their back, they might bite you. but I'd be waiting for him, and he'd start swimming by, and I'd jump in. The fucker would take off. I was like, damn it! But every day I'd try to catch him. But it was an experience in the sense that I could absolutely disconnect. It's something that not everybody in the world will get to experience.
Yeah.
You just get to kind of really connect with your partner. So I got to connect with Dea a whole lot. Like, I mean, there's other people that you network with, which is great networking because it's all people that are, usually extremely wealthy and have connections and everything. Like we became really good friends with a lot of them. But yeah, you just get to connect with the person, and there's no outside buzz. It's not, let's check my iPhone and see if my Instagram followers went up, which rare barracuda guys, Instagram. See that little plug. There's no MySpace, Facebook, all that shit, dude. Like,
I like how you went
everything is
MySpace
just gone.
first.
Dude, I still have a MySpace. I haven't been on it forever, but I still have my MySpace.
I should look it up actually, just make sure.
I have a video of me like 4 hours after my accident, and I'm like just fucking laying there.
Really?
Yeah, I can't figure out how to get off of MySpace. If anybody knows how, let me know, because I can't find it anywhere
I feel like I have
else.
to go back and remove anything that I put on the
On
internet
MySpace?
from like 2006 and
like
sooner.
your sweet background on MySpace with little
damn it.
artists and the polka dots, polka dot background. You and the unicorn.
I was just really into that. I had a shirt. So, what do you guys got? We talked a little bit yesterday about the next phase, but what is it? Julian's thing is always kind of moving and growing. What are you planning to do to make sure that all that's ready?
I try to connect as much as the dots as I can business-wise. Like I think he would be the homeless guy that's still helping people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's get you. This needs to progress. So I'm really the how guy. Like if he wants something done, I'm gonna figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
I delegate a lot of the stuff within Strongfit, and I try to find people that best suit the position. I give them my vision of what Strongfit is and kind of where it needs to start heading into. In order for him to realize what the larger vision is. Sometimes he agrees with me, sometimes he doesn't, and if he doesn't, I'll try and figure out another way to bring it in.
To make him agree with you?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, like the biggest thing for Strongfit right now is just making sure that it continues to grow organically. We've had over 1,000 people attend the seminars. It's growing slowly but surely, which is the best way to do it. Like I always tell people, like people are like, well, where's the shiny pamphlet and where's this and where's that? And I'm like, guys, like we literally started a year ago. Like,
yeah,
this is already growing way bigger than we thought it was going to. Not that it was going. I knew it was going to be big, but I was expecting like 3 years at least of kind of being able to fall into pieces. Like I'm constantly playing catch up and trying to be like, this is going here, so I need to trying to control things, so that they don't just sizzle away. So that's really what I'm trying to do with Strongfit is I want to make it something that's bigger than CrossFit, and that I believe it's going to revolutionize the way we train military, the way we train regular people, the way people train when they go train at the gym. We talked a little bit about this in the Coaches Week. Like there's that progression of when you had like the old school strongmen, and you had Arnold Schwarzenegger come in and the bodybuilding came in, and that changed the gym aspect. And then we had all these group classes with the not Zumba, but like Taibo and jazzercise and everything. And then CrossFit came along and just fucking blew everything out of the water because now everybody could be an athlete. Everybody was performance based. And so I think now we're finally starting able to progress to the next scene, which is kind of health based.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, health in the sense of, sustainability. Like, you played high school football and that was your glory days, and you want to come back and become a CrossFit all-star because you can still compete in it. But let's be real, like, do you want to be broken at 40, man? Like, let's change that wheel. Yeah. Like, there comes a point where you just get frustrated, So I think this is just really the next step. Like, I beat the shit out of myself every day. And when I train, like, it's hard training, and there's a very strong purpose behind it. But I don't wake up with achy joints. Yeah. And I know so many people that wake up and it's like, oh, the knee's just not feel like if you're saying my shoulder's not feeling in my elbow, my knee, and it's an actual joint pain, we have something going on there that's not right. If you say my pec is sore, the DOMs are setting in, that's different, right? So that's really where I started to. That's where I want to take training, and the progression I think in the next 10 years will be that.
And I think like the joint stuff that we've been having that I hear especially with CrossFitters is, I don't hear 2 days later, my quads are sore. It's my knees, my shoulders, my back.
My back is tight.
The things we talked about with, people, women peeing and stuff like that. Like
right.
all that stuff is like there's a solution to this. And like especially if someone's 20.
Right.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, dude, it's fucked up.
If you're 20 and you're having trouble putting your arms overhead first thing in the morning.
Right. I used to have high school football kids that would just graduate and they're like, oh, my glory days have passed. I was like, dude, you're 19. Like, that should not be your glory day.
If so, that's sad as shit.
Yeah, like, it's not sad. It's just the coaches fucked the kids up.
Yeah.
I had a freshman kid. Dude, the kid could back squat 315 for 10. Freshman year of high school, strong-ass kid. Started playing football, fucked up his knee 4 times. He couldn't even play his senior year because his knee was blown up.
Yeah.
He literally had a fucking external fixator for his knee for the last 2 years of high school.
Crazy.
That's football. That's the sport. That's the coach's fault.
Yep.
I hate when coaches and trainers take the glory and the pride when their athletes or team do well, and as soon as the team loses, it's the team's fault. It's the athlete's fault. That pisses me off. If the athlete gets hurt, it's because he didn't listen to me.
And the thing that I've been seeing with like CrossFit coaches is as some people are getting hurt in gyms or having aches, having pains, having issues, that at least what I've been hearing is concern. Like, how do we fix this? What do I got to do? How do I address this? Am I coaching wrong? And it's not, I guess it is, but it's not, it's because of the way they've been educated on a lot of it. But what I don't see in high school, in college sports, I see there's somewhat of a priority to like, obviously they don't want their athletes getting hurt.
Right.
But what I don't see is a college football coach or high school football coach taking any personal responsibility when kids are getting hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's a little bit frustrating because that happens all the time.
You look at the wasted potential of kids that get hurt in high school and doing high school sports, and it's sad, man. I mean, these kids have a bright future, like men and women, like boys and girls, like volleyball players. Nobody ever talks about them. They all have fucked up knees by the time they leave high school.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know. They're looking for guidance, and the guidance isn't being provided for them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you try and do something about it, you sound elitist or you sound like you're being an asshole. And the other coach, the actual sports-specific coach, is scared of his position because you're challenging him personally, and he'll disprove you. And who are you, if you're playing a sport in high school, who are you going to listen to, your high school coach or a guy that you pay at an offset gym? Because are you going to get playing time if you don't listen to your high school coach?
And an active lifestyle, really in high school and college, is you're playing a specific sport,
right?
And it's not about
fitness, right?
At all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think as parents, as coaches, as trainers, like we just need to do a better job of educating our youth into what movement is and what health is.
Yeah.
Like, I think that those should be fundamental things that we teach our kids as they play.
Right.
And not get so caught up on, you're going to play soccer because I want you to get a scholarship.
Yeah.
Like, go have fun and play, but we need to understand what movement is. Like,
definitely.
I think that's like the biggest thing that we get in. Like, I need to do a better job of delivering a message. Julian gets mad at me because I'm very confrontational sometimes. I'm forward on certain things.
I feel like Julian is also very confrontational.
Yeah, we try to change the way in which we approach things sometimes. We should. But, we need to figure out a better way to deliver a message where people aren't feeling challenged, and we're not trying to shut people down. But, the things that we understand now, like, Natalie from the Coaches Week, and you were saying, like, all you say is that you're cheating or you're not doing it right, or I'm being extra hard on you guys because I know when you guys go home, you guys have to try and understand it. But, dude, like, I've spent years just experimenting.
Yeah.
Like, where are the coaches that spend an hour or two a day not doing the programming that someone sent to them, but actually just looking at a snatch or looking at a clean and dissecting it and seeing what it actually takes to do that movement.
Working on it
Yeah,
themselves.
and that's a super complex movement. But
For sure.
like we were talking about bicep curls, because who doesn't love to curl?
Everybody.
There's different ways to curl.
Yep.
And within those different ways to curls, you get different results.
Yeah.
Where you start curling the wrong way, you're going to start getting tendonitis. You can start getting elbow pain. Like, how many guys do you see at the gym that have elbow pains from doing curls?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to do preacher curls for 12 to 18. When preacher curls is in the long head of the bicep, it's an external torque movement. They should be done in under 5 reps.
Heavy under 5.
Yeah, heavy under 5, and then you go to hammer curls and you go for the burnout.
Yeah. Swell the fuck
Oh,
up.
dude. And it works. Like, your long head of the bicep still grows.
Yeah.
So it's just really trying to learn how to. We understand things so much better now, and I think it makes us sound elitist, or it makes us sound like we're challenging people. But in the contrary, we want to try and help and educate people as much as possible, so that this stuff can be common knowledge and common sense when someone goes to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, we have people that come to the seminars, and they're just regular people that are like, I've tried everything and nothing has worked, and so I'm here to see if it can work. Like the amount of emails that we get of, thank you so much for making me understand how my body's working, and I don't have shoulder pain anymore, and all of that, it's massive. So that's really kind of where we want to take things, is we just want to make the understanding of how something works much more knowledgeable, the understanding of movement.
Yeah. Well, it's getting out there. You guys got dates all over everywhere. Where can they find them at?
Yeah, if you go to strongfit.com, we have all the dates on Pekatik, so you guys can see where we're at. I think back in the States, we'll be back in early December down in San Diego at CrossFit Invictus, and then we're going to Chris Guerrero's gym in New York in early or late January.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, where can they find you at again?
Rare Barracuda.
Find the best hair in fitness, the Mexican Johnny Bravo.
Dude, I love
Richard Aceves.
That's going to become a thing now.
All right, I'm going to give the real quick rundown. First, I want to thank Tyler at CrossFit 1080 and Torque Barbell in Woodbury, Minnesota. Great spot, great people, exceptional coaching. So check that out if you're in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Anyway, you can find me at Tyler F. and Stone on Instagram. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. Tanner, he runs the Massenomics official page. That's at Massenomics. Make sure you go to Massenomics.com. There you're going to find our store. You can find shirts, hats, all the good shit. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Go to youtube.com/Massenomics. Click subscribe. I think I just burned through all of that. Click on the shop option on the website. There you can buy the shirts, the hats, everything. So that'll take care of it for today. Thanks a whole bunch, Richard. It's been an awesome week with you guys. And everybody out there, we will talk to you next week, and stay strong.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.